Hi guys, my name is Minhajuddin Ansari and you're watching the 30th tutorial on C programming, and today I will be passing single dimensional and multi-dimensional arrays to functions. So first I'm going to start with a single dimensional array. So let me define my single dimensional array right here. It's going to be of size 5 and I'm going to initialize it to 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. And now I'm going to pass it in a function, and the function will simply print the elements of the array. So I'm going to write my function. Its return type is going to be void. Its name is going to be print array. And inside the parameter list, the first parameter will be an integer pointer, because I will be passing the name of the array, and the name of the array is the pointer to the first element of the array. And the second parameter will be the size of the array, because I need to know the size of the array. I need to know when to stop incrementing the pointer PTR. And you already know that when you increment the pointer PTR, you can traverse, you can pass through the elements of the array. And I discussed this concept in my tutorial Pointer Arithmetics. So those of you who haven't watched that tutorial, first watch that tutorial before you watch this tutorial. So now inside the body of my print array function, I'm going to write my for loop. I'm going to start at I is equal to 0 and I'm going to increment until the size, and inside the body of my for loop I'm simply going to write my printf statement, and I'm going to print the contents of the address stored by the pointer PTR by using the dereference operator, and I'm going to increment the pointer PTR. So when I run the program, I'm simply going to get all the elements of the array displayed in the output screen. And there's a small issue right here. Let me just check that out. And oh, I forgot to call my function in my main program. So let me call it first. So I'm going to write print array right here, and I'm going to add the name of my array and the size of the array. So now when I run the program, this function is going to print all the elements of the array. So this is how you can pass a single dimensional array to a function. You can also remove this asterisk sign from here and add square brackets right here, as some books do, and both mean the same thing. So you can either add the asterisk sign or you can add the square brackets, and both mean the same thing. So when I run the program, again, this function will simply print the elements of my single dimensional array num. So this is how you can pass single dimensional arrays to function. And now we're going to pass multi-dimensional arrays to functions. So for simplicity, I'm going to define a two-dimensional array, and it's going to have two subarrays, and inside those two subarrays there will be two integer elements. So this is my two-dimensional array. So I'm going to write my first subarray and two integer elements inside there, and then I'm going to write my second subarray and two integer elements inside the second subarray as well. So this is my two-dimensional array num. And you can pass the name of the two-dimensional array and it will be the same thing. So if I change this to the integer pointer, so the name of the array is the address of the first element of the array, and I'm going to pass the size of the array, which is 4, because there are 4 integer elements. So now when I run the program, the contents of the array will be printed in the output screen, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. And I can change it to 9999 just to show you that it's actually working. So when I run the program again, it's going to display 9999. It's going to display the multi-dimensional array. The function will accept the multi-dimensional array as input, and it will display it using the printf statement inside the for loop. So this is one way you can pass a multi-dimensional array. The other way you can pass a multi-dimensional array is by actually specifying the dimensions. So since this is a two-dimensional array, I will write two square brackets right here. And one thing you have to keep in mind is that after the first square brackets, you have to specify the subscript. So right here, I'll have to write 2, because right now if I try to run the program, it will give me an error. So I have to specify the subscripts after the first square bracket. So now, since the value of the subscript is 2 right here, so I'm going to add the same value right here as well. And now one more thing I have to do is that I also have to send the dimensions of the multidimensional array into my function as well, if I want to print my multidimensional array like this. So I'm going to send as a parameter value 1 and value 2. So value 1 will be the count of the outer subarrays, and value 2 will be the count of the elements inside those subarrays. So now I'll have to write a nested for loop. So for int I is equal to 0, I is lesser than value 1, I plus plus, and inside my outer for loop I'm going to write my inner for loop. Int j is equal to 0, j is lesser than value 2, j plus plus, and inside the body of the inner for loop I'm simply going to print the contents of the array. So I'm going to write %d and I'm going to write ptr I and j. So this will print all the elements of the multi-dimensional array num. So now I'm going to simply write 2 right here to specify the number of subarrays, and 2 right here to specify the number of elements inside those subarrays. So now when I run the program, it's going to display the contents of the two-dimensional array num. So this is how you can pass single-dimensional and multi-dimensional arrays to functions. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comment section, and thanks for watching this video.